Hi, I'm Ray Labonte from the USA. I've been one of the sales reps with Carf-Models for almost 20 years now. We take our training pretty seriously here. I dragged Mike, who's joining us just now as a sales rep, and we're going to do the unboxing of this Mephisto, so we're going to teach Mike here how to undo a box. How's that?
That's great, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, well, hi, I'm Mike McConville from the USA. I'm really proud to be joining the Carf-Team as a sales rep in the US, along with Ray, and I look forward to talking to all you guys and helping everybody out with Carf stuff as much as we can to get you in the air. I'm really excited about this Mephisto. This is going to be my first new generation Carf airplane, and something I'm going to fly in some F3S events this year and in the next couple years. So looking forward to getting into it. I do think we just lifted this box up and put it on the table. Pretty sure it's empty because it's really light. So if there's actually an airplane in here, that's a really good first impression. It's not a heavy airframe. So
let's go.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Oh my gosh, there is an airplane in there. We got to rebox it, huh?
We don't want to draw blood either.
No.
There you go.
They fold over? Yeah, we can just fold them. This will have to come out, right?
It's always fun to pull the wing bags out and start with the colors.
Yes, it is.
Do we know what scheme this is?
It's the Alex Ross scheme, I think.
Oh.
I think, if I read the box correctly.
So if I was going to buy one, this is the one I already own one of the Generation 1 Mephistos.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my sentimental favorites. I'm toying with the idea of replacing with a version 2. And for those of you that don't know, the difference between the version 1 and the version 2, you can actually take a version 1 airplane and turn it into a version 2 by simply doing a few things in your workshop. The only thing you can't do, since you have a wing out, is the only thing about a version 1 that can't be done to turn it into a version 2 is if you notice the hinge line here. On the version 1, the hinge line for the flap and the heel run exactly on the same line. The version 2, they extended it forward about this 3/4 of an inch. And that's to give it a little bit more aileron control at the very, very low 3D speeds. So other than that, take a version 1 airplane, you can make it a version 2. But the fact of the matter is, they came out with some really cool schemes on the version 2. So this happens to be one of my favorites.
Yep. Well, for me, I'm going to go with the yellow Cayman. That is one of my favorites, and I fell in love with those Cayman schemes when I first saw them. I love the flat finish, personally.
So tell the truth. You ordered this one.
I did. I ordered this one. I love this one too. When I saw them sitting beside each other, like, I still want the flat one. I have never had an all-flat airplane, and I think that's kind of a really cool effect.
I agree. I actually like the Cayman schemes as well. So
it's like you can't go wrong.
Right.
Cut this part off.
It's actually incredible to me, as big as this airplane is, it breaks down in such a small box. And I know when Andreas talked to me about it initially, one of his goals with this airplane, of course, him being German and really kind of catering to that European market, they don't have the vehicles that we tend to drive in the USA. They tend to drive smaller stuff. So it was a requirement for him that he wanted to design what it really turns out to be a really big airplane, but have it be able to break down small enough that you can put it in one of the smaller European cars.
Yep.
So he's always quick to mention or grab a picture where I think he has a Volvo station wagon, and he takes this really big airplane with all his field equipment, has it all broken down in the back of his SUV, and then when you get out to the field, it's maybe a 10 or 12 minute assembly process.
That's one of the cool things about the Mephisto that hooked me on it too, was that it truly is something that comes apart quickly. You know, I've seen some other big jets, I have some other big jets that have a 2-piece fuselage that quote unquote come apart, but realistically it takes an hour of tedious work to get to bolts, to get it apart. And this thing, everything's accessible.
The one thing I give Andreas a lot of credit for, and actually the Carf-Team as a whole, he takes a lot of feedback. He never stops making the airplanes better.
Yeah.
I see him reworking airplanes that have been in the mold. I mean, he's had it in the system for 10 years, 12 years. And he's still working on refining them and even making them better. Instead of just abandoning them, he just continues to work and try to make them even better airplanes years down the road.
Yep. Well, another thing that's really cool about this stab is the fact you can feel it's counterbalanced already.
Yep.
Because almost everyone knows flying stabs are a great setup, but if they're set up incorrectly and the CG is too far back, they can be unstable and flutter and cause a catastrophic failure. So it's really great that Andreas has taken the time to install it inside so that the customer doesn't have to worry about it. Just put it on and it's going to be balanced right, and there's not going to be any issues at all. It's still light.
If you pull the tail up, we can get it out of the box.
Alrighty. You ready to get the fin out?
Why don't you hold?
That's amazing how light that is.
It's like every time I open one of these things, it's like a Christmas present.
Oh, yeah.
You know? You get all excited, like, what's
This
it really
is the
going to
most
look like?
exciting part of any new airplane that you get. Open it up and see it, see the colors, and I can't wait to see.
While we're doing this, I got to share a couple of things. So I'm back here in the factory with Mike, and I realized as I'm walking around with cameras, I'm looking at a couple of airplanes, one in which I was really impressed by. It's actually back here in the paint shop right now. I actually took the order on this custom painted airplane. Today's what, Tuesday? I think I confirmed the order with the customer a week ago, and the airplane's in there being painted and molded over the course of the next few days. So it's remarkable to me that from the time we have a concept and we got an approval from a customer on something that's custom painted, that here I am in Thailand a week later, and they're actually building that airplane now. And probably I'm told by the end of the week, it'll actually be a structure that they'll start working on QC and assembly and stuff like that. That's really a pretty remarkable pace for something that they're doing as a one-off. So the Mephisto actually gets shipped in 3 big boxes total, I believe. You got this big fuselage box, which you saw us unbox, that has the main fuselage and all the flying surfaces. There is an aft section box, which is a,
much smaller box.
3.5 feet long, maybe 1.5 foot by 1.5 foot. And then there's a center section box over there for the fuselage as well.
Are these VGs a new feature of the V2?
Yep.
I don't remember seeing those.
Probably
I would imagine that improves low-speed handling.
I can tell you as an American coming from Maine, and I left Maine 4 or 5 days ago. I think it was 25 degrees. So what's it out here, 90 today?
About 90, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm from Illinois, so it's just about as bad right now in Illinois. Very cold. This is nice. Where'd those go?
Vertical fin.
I would have got there. We'll slide that in way over there. Amazing lights. So nice that the horns are already factory installed. Slots for servo arms are already cut. Those are just huge time savers. Not only time savers, just frustration savers. Those are just the jobs that aren't fun as you're building a model.
Another statement in simplicity. I remember the first time I saw this on my airplane. Again, I have one of the version 1s in the standard sport scheme. And I remember putting the airplane together for the first time. You got these winglets. And I'm like, thankfully Andreas was with us at the field. I'm like, how do these work? And you just simply pop them on and there's a built-in magnet. I'm like, really? That's gonna stay there? And after easily 100 plus flights on the airplane, it's never gone anywhere. So it's actually very simple. What's that?
Where's it gonna go?
Yeah.
There's no force trying to take that out.
Yep. The last couple of things, Mike's gonna put the little cantilever on. People always ask the question, like, what purpose does this serve? And Andreas' classic answer is, it's a great conversation starter. Because everybody asks the question, and they start asking all the alternate questions to go with it. As you can see, we got all the big parts accounted for. It took us, 15 minutes, a little clumsy assembly work here in a cardboard box, but other than that, it went
Not
okay.
bad. I mean,
Otherwise,
doesn't take long.
the only thing we have left, basically the pusher rods for the tumble tube, fuel tank mounts here, a little aesthetic piece to cover over your rudder linkage. Not a lot to it once you've gotten to this point. As you can see, coming out of the box, 20 or 30 minutes, you're looking at a pretty elegant airplane. The other thing for the U.S. market that's really become an issue since we've started delivering the V2 to some people. The reason the V2 was really created was some of the European events in particular, and even some of the AMA event, the whole hysteria, so to speak, or the controversy about having to do LTMA1 registrations and stuff. Andreas really wanted to go back with some things we learned, make the airplane lighter, so ready to fly with fuel, this airplane can weigh under 55 pounds. By making those adjustments that they did in the V2, they can do that. The airplane has two options for fuel. The 55 pound or less, you have a 5-liter tank, but you can still get, you order separately, either the 5-liter single tank, centerline tank, or you can still order these 2 saddle tanks, which I believe you can build in 2 different configurations and hold as much as 7.2 liters of fuel. The majority of the guys have expressed some concern that 5 liters with a 320 or 260, which is probably the most common engine that they're putting in this airplane, you know, they're concerned about not really carrying enough fuel. So in that case, they can always use the saddle tanks, but we have to tell them ahead of time, you're going to be over 55 pounds by doing that just because of the liquid weight.
Yeah.
But out of the box, stock setup, a King Tech 320 or similar, 5-liter fuel tank, you can comfortably get this airplane under 55 pounds, which really clears all those hurdles that Andreas addressed when he went back and did this V2 airplane.
Yes.
And the other hurdle that it clears is specific to the F3S competition, which is something very new, but we're hopeful that it's going to grow. It's a lot of fun. F3S, for people that don't know, is basically pattern with jets. I've flown a couple events, and it is, coming from a competition background, I love it, and it's a lot of fun. But as it matures, it is an FAI event. And right now, the events that we've had in the US, we're not really pushing the weight limit right now because we're trying to get new people in. But as it matures and it becomes a true FAI event with the World Championships, there is a 55-pound weight limit, 55-pound takeoff weight limit. So, and that's one of the other reasons I wanted to go with the Mephisto, move up to that, because it is truly legal. So, you know, in a few years, if there's a team in a World Championships, I've got an airplane that's legal. So I show up with something overweight, it'll be a no-go. You won't be able to fly it. So checks all the boxes. Yeah.
So here we are, clumsy way of working our way through 45 minutes of pulling an airplane, putting it in the box, little off-screen conversation, things like that. Now the real question is, this was originally the airplane you put a deposit on. Now that you've seen it, you're still thinking the Cayman. Now you want to change your mind again, don't you?
Oh, you know, I'm on the fence again. This is beautiful. I love the metallic blue color on this. The camera won't pick it up, but when you see this in light, it's a lot of really pretty metal flake in it. I like that a lot.
Last year, Alex, we had the privilege of having Alex join us at Florida Jets. And that's where this airplane was seen for the first time, the V2 in the Alex RAF scheme. Alex being one of the premier European, you know, IMAC freestyles, very, very good show pilot. The first time he took this airplane out on the flight line and stood it up on its tail so that the sun was shining and you could see all this fancy geometry on the wings and stuff. I happened to be standing with 3 or 4 of the South Floridians, and they're like, okay, that looks really, really good. And at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, Alex did a great job because he helped me sell 5 airplanes at the event. So the airplane speaks for itself. I think it's been great doing this. It's a little warm here in Thailand. Mike, I'm looking forward to working with you.
Me too.
We'll have a good time together.
Yep.
Thanks.